Sakito be a baby on the bribe. Yezo. Lecture. Watching so many symptoms. No, that's a really important. They say watching so many symptoms.
Mr. Kenneth, please, we are in.
Okay.
Before they come on board, I want to ask the question.
All right, Francis.
Yes, sir. So, maybe if, let's say psychologically somebody is depressed and you want to measure or you want to find out the level at which the person is depressed. That one, does it take hospitals or doctors to do a certain lab, or a psychologist just can look at the person and then measure and know that the person is depressed, or how, by which means do they do that?
So as I stated earlier, it all boils down to the psychological test. Okay, we have psychological tests. They are more or less like paper and pencil test that the person will fill. So out of the person's, let me finish. Out of the person's responses, then a psychologist will then interpret. They have been trained to do that. Will score and interpret to help us know that okay, this person is depressed, or if the person is depressed, the depression is mild or severe. Then again, we can use lab because per level 200 biological psychology, your seniors, they are doing it currently. So we have something known as a neurotransmitter. It is more or less like a chemical within the brain known as serotonin. So we normally say if the serotonin levels within the brain is low, then depression would set in or will happen. So the serotonin levels help us to understand or help us to know whether the person is depressed or not.
Okay.
All right.
So sir, I'm not cutting you off. So in that manner, if I have a relative who I want to know whether the person is depressed or not, do I have to come to University of Ghana for lecturers to determine, or I have to take the person to hospital?
You are just, okay, you've made some observations, you realize that, okay, the person is depressed. Depression is okay. If the person is sad, we call it sad. If the person is sad, with time, the person would overcome the situation. But depression becomes very bad if it causes dysfunction in a person. So it means the person, occupation, and social interaction is is interrupted. The person wouldn't even go to work. The person wouldn't interact with anyone. Then it becomes a big issue. You are supposed to refer the person to mental health professional. That's a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm okay.
You're welcome. Michael.
Mr. Ken.
Please, Michael, you are next. Your hand is up. If it is by mistake, please lower your hand. All right.
My hand is up, please.
Lawson.
Yes, Mr. Ken.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please, I want to find out the slides on which this lecture is based on. Is it the same as the slides on the psychology on Sakai? I mean, the slides on Sakai.
The slide that I've just projected. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes. I want to find out if they are the same.
Yes, they are quite the same. Just that the one on Sakai, what makes psychology a science is not part. So mostly when I'm teaching this course, I try to emphasize on this before I move ahead and talk about some details within your slide. Okay.
So please, is this particular lesson saved? Are you saving it? So maybe
I don't get you. You're saying, is it what?
Are you saving this particular Zoom class, please?
Yes,
so
I
maybe
indicated
I can
earlier.
refer to it
I
in the
indicated
future.
earlier that I'm recording. So afterwards, I'll forward a link to you so that you can retrieve it on Google Drive.
Right. Or maybe it could be on Sakai, so I can just download it.
I have recorded some few videos for your seniors. I tried uploading it on Sakai. I was having challenges. So what I've done is that I've created Google Drive. Then I'll just forward a link to your page. You go there and download it yourself. That's much better.
Right.
All right. So let me go ahead with generalizability. I'm saying with generalizability, always you are trying to make sure that whatever findings that you've gotten from the study, you want to make sure that you can extend it to a large number of individuals or population. So the example that I used was the study that I just mentioned. So you conducted a study, and per your studies, University of Ghana distance students, they are what? They are anxious during examination. So that's the finding that you had. What informed you to get this finding, to extend this finding to the entire University of Ghana students? Because per your study, you didn't use the entire student of the entire distance students. You just use maybe 100 students to represent distance students. So in most situations, psychologists have ways of calculating it to make sure that the sample or the people they've chosen to represent their study is, we call it is representative. We have ways of doing it. So always, you're supposed to make sure that whatever study that you are doing, it is representative. That's the only thing you need to know for now. Then out of it, we can say, oh, whatever findings you get is generalizable. We can extend it to the entire people that you were studying. All right, so that will be all when it comes to what makes psychology a science. So right now I can move to your slides so that the class will continue. Okay, I think a lot of people's hand. I can see a lot of people's hands. So let me see. The first person was Pobi.
I want the students.
Sorry. Sorry. Your network is really bad. I could barely hear you. So the next person, Agnes.
Hello, sir.
Yep.
Please, I just wanted to know, I just joined, so I wanted to know whether, is there a way, maybe,
yes. Agnes, don't bother yourself.
Class.
Don't bother yourself. I just indicated that I'm recording it, so afterwards I'll forward it to the WhatsApp page for you to have access to the video.
Okay, please, one more question.
Okay.
Please, you know, sometimes when we have the Zoom, it takes only 100 students. So please, I wanted to be sure next week, how is it going to be?
Yeah,
so that some of us will not come in late or will not.
That's what I'm saying. It's not my fault. Per the university, they haven't given us access to have premium access to Zoom. So when it comes to Zoom, if it is free, we normally use the free one. And the free one takes only 100. So the only thing I can do to help is that I'll do, in the course of me tutoring, I'll record. Then afterwards, share the video so that anyone who couldn't benefit could also just watch the video and understand most of the concepts we discussed. So that's the only way I can help.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, so let me continue on. The next one is behavior. The next one is behavior. So the reason as to why mostly the first session of the first session, that session 1 and 2, I don't focus too much on this slide, is that the session 1 and 2, they are not comprehensive enough. So if you see behavior, we just indicated behavior, but a lot of things goes into behavior. So let me share my slide again and walk you through the things under behavior. Good. So that's what behavior is all about. So with the definition, I wouldn't bother myself. The most important thing is you knowing the types of behavior. So we have two main types of behavior, which is overt and covert. So with overt, the one that starts with O, they are basically behaviors you can observe or you can perceive with your 5 senses. So for instance, so who can give me any behavior anyone can easily observe?
When someone is sick.
When someone is sick, what happens?
When someone is happy and the person is laughing.
Dancing.
Okay. Yes, I think you have it on the slide. So, yeah. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Okay. So, with covert, that's the opposite. With that, you can't directly observe with your 5 senses. You can't see it, you can't hear, and so on. But there are certain behaviors the person exhibits. So the person's intelligence level, love, thinking, and so on. They are basically covert behaviors.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
That's Kobe. Okay.
Yeah, I think is it the spelling of that behavior, is it accepted?
Come again.
Spelling of the behavior there, is it accepted? Is that not the US type of behavior? Or you don't have you there? Or...
Kobe, seriously, I don't really get your question. Would you please repeat what you said?
It's asking of the spelling of behavior.
Spelling. Oh.
Yes, sir. He said, "Is that a U.S. spelling of behavior?"
There is
a spelling of behavior. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You can
see the add to the U.S. and the Britain.
Yeah. So yes, I decided to use the U.S. So you can use the UK.
Is it accepted in written?
Yes, it's accepted. It's accepted.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right.
Orange signpost.
So under the 2 main types of behavior, we can further categorize them into 4 main types. So remember I said we have 2 main types, that's overt and covert. These 2 main types can further be categorized into 4 broad. So I'm muting all of you. So these behaviors, we can further categorize them into 4. Oh, please, try and mute yourself. I do mute, then you guys would unmute. Okay, so the first one is reflex behavior. Reflex behavior. And I know back in JHS and SHS, we came across something known as reflex act or reflex action. Please who remembers? reflex
I
actions?
do.
So what are
I do.
I do back at SHS.
Okay, please.
Yeah, general
science.
All right. So what are some of the reflex actions you know of? Most of you, your hand. I don't know whether it was the previous discussions we had, or you want to answer. So Ernest, I think your hand is up. You're the first person.
Yeah, sir, please, my question was about what are the behaviors. For my slides, it says the characteristics of behavior. Like previous one, let me go back to my slides. The characteristics, the one you showed, the replicable and the generalization. For my slides, it shows that some characteristics of scientific, yes, no, some characteristics of scientific behavior. But you said like what makes I forgot like the heading of the topic.
I said is characteristics of scientific study.
Okay.
So the same as you saying.
But what was displayed on the screen was showing what makes psychology science. That was what I was about.
Yes, and I indicated that I gave you three main things.
Yes, please.
That they can either formulate it like what makes psychology a science, or what are the features of a scientific study, or the characteristics of scientific study. It means the same thing.
Okay, sir. Then thank you.
Okay, so I'll take only one person, then I can continue on. Is it Tina? Is it the right pronunciation? Tina?
Please, yes.
Okay, so please, go ahead.
You are asking for examples of reflex actions.
Okay.
Yes, and I wanted to say that drawing your hand quickly from... Yes, drawing your hand quickly from a hot object. That's a reflex action.
Exactly. So any other reflex action you know of? Okay, Agnes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I think Tina has answered what I wanted to say.
Okay. Then the next person is Amira. You are the one who. Okay.
Yes. Sir, please like blinking your eye when maybe you see an insect, a fly or something. Yeah.
Exactly. So all these things are reflex behaviors. You don't have total control. So we normally say they are involuntary behaviors that we do. Then the next one is goal-directed behavior. So with goal-directed behavior, you know that you have a goal, that's a need. So you have a need. Then you make what conscious effort to satisfy that kind of need. So my question to you, why did you decide to join today's meeting? There's a motive, or there's a reason as to why you joined, because you have a need. So that kind of need you have would influence your actions or the behavior that you do. So when that happens, then we are saying it is goal directed. So you could see that, okay, some people, okay, they would what? They will come for lectures consistently because the person believes that, okay, I want to what? I want to get, I'm just using it as an example. I want to what? Get all A's. So in order to get all A's, it means I need to attend all the lectures, understand what the tutor is saying, then out of it, I'll grasp the concept well. So that's the need, the ultimate goal of the person, to get all A's. So in order to get the kind of A's he or she wants, the person would put certain systems in place, attend all lectures, study, or have group discussions and all that. So when that happens, then it means it is what? It is a goal-directed behavior that the person is exhibiting. Okay, Simi, your hand is up. All right, so let me continue. I think Esme is not ready to speak. So the next thing is, or the next one is frustration behavior. Please mute. The next one is frustration behavior. With frustration behavior, it happens when a person tries to exhibit. Okay, Francis, your hand is up. All right. Francis, kindly unmute yourself and speak. Or I'll move on to the next person. Courage. So that'll be the last person out. Or that'll be the last person. Okay, Francis. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, you made us understood that there are two types of behaviors.
Yes,
overt and covert.
Afterwards, I indicated that with the two types of behaviors, it can further be categorized into what? Into
four types.
Into four. Yeah.
Into four. And then the first one is reflex behavior. The goal-directed behavior, is it part of the four?
Oh, Francis, yes.
Under the four.
Exactly, because I've already commented that there are four. So that should give you a signal that the subsequent ones, they are the four types.
Okay. So under it, the frustration behavior is the third one, right?
Oh.
Sir?
Yes, Francis.
The frustration behavior is the third one, right?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Courage.
Yeah. So can we say the frustration behavior, it kind of happen when one's needs is not met, like it's exhibited when one's need is not.
Exactly. You're 100% right.
Okay.
Agnes.
Sir.
Your hand is up.
Yes, please. So I want to know if someone is moody. Do we say that what type of behavior is it, COVID or overt?
If someone is moody, okay, can someone give her the answer? If someone is moody, I think someone even indicated. So please, anyone could answer her. The question is, if someone is moody, it will fall within what type of behavior?
Overt behavior.
This is an overt behavior.
It's an overt behavior.
Okay.
Sir, please, I wanted to ask some.
So the next one is frustration behavior. So under frustration behavior, as one of your colleagues rightly indicated, it starts with you having a goal-directed behavior. But in the course of you trying to achieve your goal-directed behavior, something comes up. And unfortunately, maybe you couldn't achieve the target goal that you have. Something came up, so you couldn't achieve it. Then you try severally to achieve that sort of goal, but it doesn't work. Then let's say by one or two chance, you tried it again, it worked. You could see that after it works, due to the sort of energy and everything that you've gone through or you've used up to achieve that goal, it wouldn't no longer be a form of satisfaction to you, because when it comes to your perspective, you've used a lot of effort to achieve that sort of goal. So you've gone through a whole lot of frustrations, setbacks. So out of it, the satisfaction, or you wouldn't even appreciate it well because of the kind of setbacks and frustrations that you went through. A typical case is you're a student and you took this course this semester. Unfortunately, by one or two reasons, you had an F. Then level 200, you risk it for the same course. Unfortunately for you again, you get an F. Level 300, wahala again, F. Then fortunately level 400, you get an A. You could see that the kind of appreciation at first you would have had if you had gotten maybe the A for the first time back in level 100. The kind of appreciation you would have had currently, it wouldn't be too much. Or you feel that, oh, Charlie, my bread, I've really gone through a lot. So sometimes you become a bit fed up. Let me use it in that regard. So when the good grade come like that, you wouldn't be too much satisfied because of the kind of setbacks you've gone through. But I don't want to say this is an all or none situation. Why? Because we sometimes say, okay, individual personality. Some people, in some situations, they would appreciate it. But what we are saying is that majority of individuals wouldn't appreciate it too much as compared to if they had maybe, or they had passed their exams for the first time. So please, Erasmus, your hand is out. Or Erasmus.
Sir, please, I want to ask this question.
Okay.
What you are saying, is it after the MET goals that you are talking about it as frustration behavior, or
you couldn't meet
during the struggle,
yes,
or during the struggle to meet the goal?
The thing is
it during or after?
The thing is, you have a goal, right? And the goal, maybe there was a set time limit. Okay, so like the example that I use, you want to get all A's in psychology. So it means that, oh, this semester you want to get an A. So since you want to get an A, you structured or you set up systems in place to achieve that by attending lectures, going for group discussions, studying or doing individual studies. Then unfortunately something happened. There was a setback. So it means you couldn't achieve, you couldn't achieve that goal. You get it? Then
so sir,
in subsequent periods, you don't achieve. So there are frustrations. So out of this frustration, then let's say you tried it for maybe 2 or 3 times, it worked for you. When it works like that, you wouldn't appreciate it much. That's what frustration behavior is all about.
Okay. And what I wanted to know about this is that is it the frustration you've passed through to achieve that goal that we describe as the frustration behavior, or the reaction you take after you have achieved that goal? So which one is it?
It all boils down to the frustration. So out of the frustration, okay, you wouldn't appreciate it. Even when the person's appreciate it, it wouldn't be too much as compared to the first time maybe the person achieved. But so for us to say that this behavior is a frustration behavior, then it means that the person went through a series of frustrations and the person tried it severally, but couldn't meet it. It all boils down to the frustration the person went through. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So a lot of
Yeah.
10 minutes. So again, they are saying 10 minutes. So when it cuts, use the same link to join. So we would join for the last time, and that'll be the end of today's discussion.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir. Please, I wanted to ask a question.
All right.
Basically, sometimes you see that some people are very emotional about stuff, and where you said that for a person to have a frustration behavior, the person has to go through the circumstance severally.
Okay.
But like what I have observed in the society around me, I realized that some people are very emotional about stuff, and even if they should go through this kind of frustration, even once they get that kind of frustration behavior that like calls or coagulates around them to the extent that they even find it difficult to move on. How do we explain this with the frustration behavior, the definition of it here?
Yeah, so long as you're going through a series of frustrations, we call it individual differences or personality traits. The way some people will take it will be different. So some,
when we are like me, I suggest that you should.
So in the course of you going through these frustrations, some people, the way maybe one person would take it will be entirely different. So definitely others would even give up on the way, because I know some students who currently they graduated like 3 years ago up till now. Sorry, they completed 3 years ago up till now, they haven't graduated yet. Because of the kind of frustrations maybe they went through due to the risks and everything that they had. So it all boils down to individual differences or personalities. The way you will take it when you have a setback will be entirely different from another person. So they are all forms of frustration behaviors.
Okay.
So I'll take it the last one and that'll be all. Joseph Apia.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What I'm coming to say, it's not a question. I think I'm just adding up to the frustration behavior. I think frustration behavior really it really forms part of our daily lives. Like it's always around us. So that's what I wanted to say.
Okay. All right. So let me continue on. So the last one is conditioned behavior. Conditioned behavior. This is more or less like something known as learning. Okay, so when you do something consistently, it becomes part and parcel of you. Okay, so we normally say it is a habitual practice that we do for a while. So when you do it for a longer period, it becomes your behavior. So for instance, dogs, let me use dogs. You can see that a dog owner would what? Would train the dog to exhibit certain behaviors. Would train it to maybe sit or something, or even what? So any dog lover here, I think yes, that will really help. What are some of the things people train their dogs to do?
Like them obeying your actions.
Come again? Yes, obeying your actions. So that's a typical condition behavior. So what kind of actions?
You tell them to say it, they'll say it.
Uh-huh.
When you call them, they hear, like, if they are mean, each of them know their name.
Okay.
You also scare away strangers.
Okay. So you see, it doesn't happen just it's not a one-time thing. You train the dog for a while, okay? Then out of it, it becomes something the dog would exhibit. So it means it is a form of habitual practice you do with the dog, so that with time, the dog will then learn it and do it independently. So when that happens, so when the person is able to do it independently, then it means that there has been that sort of a conditioning. Again, let me mute all of you. So we call it conditioned behavior. All right. So please, any question? Hey. So please, sometimes if you feel your questions have been answered, you can just lower your hand, because I can see a lot of hands up, and I don't know what's really happening. So Enoch, do you have a question?
Yes, please, I do have.
Okay.
Okay, mine is not actually a question, it's like an observation about the frustration behavior. Hello,
okay.
sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, when you made an analogy that when you try something consistently and you're not getting the results, when you finally get the intended results, you feel frustrated about it. But I think it depends on the individual, because,
Yes,
for example, you marry and you want to have a baby. You try and try for so many years. When you eventually get the baby, I mean, the joy that you will get, I mean, it will be, I mean, hard to describe or to define.
It's true.
But I don't think somebody will feel frustrated about it. Maybe when the person finally gave birth and the baby is kind of disabled or something, that is where I think some people will feel frustrated about. They'll be like, okay, for so many years I've tried getting a baby, and when I finally get one, the baby is deformed or that kind of thing. That's where the frustration will set in.
Okay, your name again. I said the frustration, it doesn't come after you've achieved the goal. I said, in the course of you trying to achieve the goal, there'll be setbacks.
Okay.
And those setbacks is what will lead to what? To the frustration. But at the end of the day, if you are able to achieve the goal that you set for yourself, you wouldn't appreciate it. That's a term. I said you wouldn't appreciate it too much than if you had you had achieved the goal for the first time.
All right, please.
Yes, and I also indicated that individual differences count. But most researchers have made us to believe that most people, when they don't achieve their goal for the first time, the kind of appreciation they have is minimal due to the frustration they went through to achieve it.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. So Zoom just alerted me we have 2 minutes.
Hello, sir.
Even less than 2 minutes. So in case it cuts, use the same link to join. Okay, hello. The next, who? Courage.
Yes, sir. I read in a book that the conditioned behavior, it is kind of a pattern sustained in response to a stimuli. And I want you to at least explain it for me.
Yes, I totally get you. One thing is, due to a level, I trying as much as possible to simplify things for you. But as you move along, you get these things. So take a stimulus as anything within our environment. So even the dog that I was using is more or less like what? A stimulus. Okay.
Okay.
So in simple language, we normally say a conditioned behavior happens when you say you've conditioned something, it means that thing at first it wouldn't have evoked any behavior.
Yeah.
But you associated with it with something that originally what evokes a behavior, so that